Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're doing something a bit different, a character study. But it's drawn from just one really rich source. It's a poetic observation of a lone woman. And our mission really is to see how such a brief, almost cinematic description can tell us so much. What's fascinating right off the bat, I think, is how the observer highlights these, contradictions. The description starts by telling us she's piercingly quiet, like sleepy Sunday streets. But then, almost in the same breath, she gifts the evening with foursome lips and incendiary eyes. And that word, foursome, it's interesting, not a typo. It suggests this allure that's maybe compellingly seductive, maybe even a bit dangerous. It sets up an ambiguity straight away. How does that grab you?
Oh, absolutely. That juxtaposition is, it's genius, really. Pairing piercingly quiet with incendiary eyes. It forces your brain to reconcile these opposites. It creates this immediate sense of internal conflict, of mystery. It doesn't just say she's complex, it makes you feel it. And what's really interesting is how that quiet intensity, it apparently belies a shyness refined in its own tainted way. That word belie, it's key, right? It suggests she's maybe masking something deliberately. It's not just a trait and tainted that hints at, experiences, doesn't it? Gives psychological depth with just one word, despite her unabated beauty.
Yeah, that internal complexity you mentioned, it's sort of mirrored in how she's described physically, too, isn't it?
Yeah.
The observer notes her sleek, slim figure, and then this Arctic-like glance, mistaken for mystique.
Mistaken for mystique, right?
Exactly, and they even say you'll sort of forgive her for her distant disposition or a bitter demeanor. That's quite a layer of interpretation from the observer being woven in, not just pure description.
It absolutely is. And look, this isn't just about how she feels inside or, how she looks. It affects how she acts, how she carries herself in that bar. Her charm chimes with diamond-like delicateness beneath her burnished complexion. It's quite poetic, and her gestures are measured. She's gently lifting her eyes with each succinctly well-timed sip of a drink. There's a real subtlety there. It's like she has this quiet power just through her presence and these controlled actions. You get the sense she's definitely not there to chat about, the weather.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
And that leads straight into the psychological stuff that's hinted at. We're told you can sense her weariness of men and their mercenary hearts.
Wow.
It's not explicit, but it's implied through how she just is in that space.
Yeah.
Even the setting plays a part. The bar lights apparently heighten her sensual presence. And ultimately, the description lands on her being seemingly indifferent to how her salaciousness shapes everyone's evening. And salaciousness here, it feels like it means more than just something crude. It's like this powerful magnetic charm, maybe, an allure that impacts everyone else, even if she doesn't seem to care.
Or notice.
Right, or notice, like she's in her own world.
And that's really where the strength of this kind of poetic language comes through, I think. These concise, really vivid bits of observation, they build a whole portrait. It feels complete, magnetic even. And you don't need a long backstory or pages of narrative. The writer here is banking on evoking your imagination, making you infer things. It's just a perfect example of how carefully chosen words can paint an entire person, an entire mood in your mind. It invites you, the reader, or in this case, the listener, to fill in those gaps.
It really does. This whole deep dive into just one description, it really shines a light on the power of, just looking closely and using language poetically. You can build such a complex character from so little. It makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often do we kind of sketch out a whole story for someone we just see across a room based on maybe one look, one gesture?
Exactly. So thinking about that, what does this all mean for you listening? How much can you actually discern about someone from, say, a fleeting glance or just a brief interaction? What assumptions are we making, maybe without even realizing it? And what hidden depths, what other stories might we be missing just under the surface?